Give me a range of all the different types of animals that you've driven or can drive.
From Chihuahuas to Great Pyrenees, cats, all sorts of dogs and cats I have transported.
And which one of those different animals is more problematic than others?
Well, I'd say a cat is more difficult for me personally because I prefer to keep them, in a larger crate in the car because they're so quick and agile. They can get out really fast. I feel like dogs are easier. You can stop and let them walk. Cats really have no desire to walk on a leash or a harness of any sort. So I feel, I guess, it's not necessarily problematic, but I feel like the dog probably gets more out of a transport than a cat does.
I gotcha. And let's talk about driving conditions. What's all the different types of driving conditions that you've had to deal with?
Well, I think the worst for me, I've been through a couple blizzards. I've been through a blizzard in New Mexico, which was really strange for me. And then I also have been through some snowstorms up in Canada. Snow has been the most challenging thus far in my career.
None of them have been challenging, is that what you said?
No, snow has been challenging this far.
Oh, I gotcha. And when you're transporting cross country and you're going through snow, what do you do with the animals when you need to stop and breathe?
When we stop and break during snow, I put on my boots and the animals get out. The animals most of the time enjoy the snow. They like it. A lot of them are from snow or they've never seen it, so they enjoy it. You just have to wipe off their feet when they're done or they get little ice balls stuck to their fur.
That's cute. And what about, like, if you've had to do an overnight and you've had to sleep, do you sleep with the animals, or what do you do?
Yeah, I've done both. I've had a lot of people provide crates sometimes because animals are used to sleeping in crates, but I've also had the majority of them want to sleep in the bed with me. So yeah, most of the time they sleep in the bed.
So you go to a hotel?
Yeah, we find pet-friendly hotels, and there's all kinds of websites that show all kinds of pet-friendly hotels across the country and in other countries. And yeah, it's pretty accommodating.
And how many animals do you typically transport at a given time?
I would say 3 is the most that I've transported at once.
And did you sleep all 3?
Yeah, well, they got some good sleep, but I didn't get much good sleep.
And why is that?
Well, they're, everybody was fighting for space in the bed.
So what is a story about the most dangerous drive you've had and how it made you feel?
Here recently, actually, in February, we did a transport to Toronto, and we left on a Wednesday night, I believe, and we drove up there. We got to stop at Niagara Falls on the way and check that out, and the pet travel agent that we were meeting in Toronto that was giving the animals to us to haul back here to North Carolina called and let us know that there was going to be a big storm that night, and she said that for us to be careful. She didn't know if we knew anything about driving in the snow, being we were from the south, and said it was going to be negative temperatures and blowing snow, and we didn't think much of it. We let Juan know, and we're prepared for whatever was going to happen. We woke up that morning probably about 6 a.m. and there was no snow on the ground, so I laid back in the bed for about an hour, and there was 4 inches on the ground when I woke up at 7. So, and there was no visibility. We were in like the top of a hotel, like on the 10th or 11th floor. We couldn't even see, to the cars in the bottom. So we meet the lady to get the pets, and we start our journey back to North Carolina. And I think the major highway up there is 90 or 91 in Toronto that leads into the States. We traveled, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 miles on that, and they were closing the highway because the snow was accumulating so fast they couldn't keep it clean. And so they detoured us off through this little 2-way road in backwoods New York, which I didn't even know existed. I didn't know there was any country like that in New York. Our GPS lost service. The snow was blowing like crazy, and so we had to follow this, big like Sheetz truck, gas truck, and we had to follow him for about 4 hours through this tiny 2-lane road until we could get back, onto the highway where it had opened. I felt like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in backwoods New York with no GPS and no phone service. I don't know what to do or who to call. But we pushed on through. We white-knuckled it a lot. It was scary. It was a lot of snow, a lot of bad driving conditions. But we took it slow and steady, and we made it home on time. But it was nerve-wracking.
Awesome. All right, why don't you share with me one of your most heartfelt stories where there was animal issues and how that made you feel?
Animals always touch your heart, so that's a hard one to say. But for me, I think it wasn't like a long haul transport. It was an older man called us during the day and said that he needed help taking his pet to the vet, that she had not been able to walk for a couple days. And I had a lot going on that day, but for some reason I just couldn't tell this older guy no. So I agreed. I went over there, and he said that she had not been able to get up in the last 3 days. And mind you, this man was in a walker himself. The dog was probably 70 or 80 pounds, but she needed to be lifted to get into the car. And where she had not been able to get up, for 3 days, she had urinated, and saturated herself and the blanket underneath her. And I knew that this older guy wasn't going to be able to help me lift this animal. So I was able to lift her somehow, some way. I guess kind of an adrenaline rush. And we got her in the car, and he didn't have a ride to the vet either, of course. So I, put him and the animal got in the car, and we went to the vet. And I sat around and waited, and it ended up where he had to euthanize this pet. And he told me that this was the only person or, thing he really had left in his life, and that he looked forward to being with her every day. And he didn't know what he was going to do. He was sad. And so that really touched my heart. It made me cry, definitely, because here it is. This older guy doesn't have anybody, and he loves his pet, and he couldn't do anything for her. So it touched me that I was able to provide a service for him that helped him and his animal, but it was sad that he didn't get to go home with her that afternoon.
Oof, yeah. Why don't you tell me one of your funniest stories?
Well, let's see. The funniest thing for me this far, I was driving to California, and typically we only do East Coast stuff, but this was for a very kind of private, wealthy customer that we had that had contacted us. And so we had to we had to transfer 2 dogs here in North Carolina to San Diego, California. And we had 5 days to do it, so we got to take our time. We decided we were going to cross the Hoover Dam and check that out. And so before you cross, they have these like checkpoints to check your car for bombs or weapons so that, terrorists can't cause any problems at the Hoover Dam. And the officer says, I'm going to lift the hatch of the car. I was in like an SUV, so the dogs were in the back seat of the car. And he lifted up the hatch, and one of the dogs in the back seat lunged across the seat, barking and growling at this guy. He slams the door shut and then comes around to the window and says, all right, ma'am, have a nice day. So, and he never checked the car for bombs or anything because the dog scared him. So, and she proceeded to do that at the Arizona checkpoint too, where they check for fruits and vegetables. So I guess we could have smuggled in fruits if we wanted to, but the dog prevented anybody from checking the car. And that was funny.
That is funny. The question that the network people always ask is, what makes you different than other people, and why you think you would be an interesting driver to be on TV?
What makes me different? Well, I'm very outgoing. I'm bubbly, I guess is the word for it. I'm a to-the-point kind of person, but yet I'm sensitive. I have a big heart, and I can do a lot for people, but I like to get things done. I like for things to be done the right way. I guess I'm just pretty intense and pretty outgoing, and I think that I would make good television, and especially my relationship with Juan. People tend to like to be around us.
Are you two a couple?
No.
I'm trying to get in her pants, but I haven't been able to.
No, we are not a couple.
She's got the hats for me, but she doesn't admit it.
No, I bat for the other team.
Oh, there you go.
That's funny. I'm good on your interview. If you guys want to swap and we'll do Juan's interview next, that'd be great.
Okay.
Well,
If you want to drive your car, because I can.
Harlan,
Yes.
are you there? I'm trying to get back to the point where we started so I can get in my car. We're about maybe 7 minutes away
Okay.
because Leslie wanted to drive her car where she was comfortable with. So,
All right. So you want to call me when you get back to your car?
yes, I'll call you in a couple minutes.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
It was nice talking to you. Thanks.
Nice to meet you too. As I go ahead and stop recording.
Okay.
Here she goes brown nosing.